I've got 20 acres of lake frontage on Duck Lake. This is in the Crosslake area of Minnesota, of Crow Wing County, just a little bit north of Brainerd, Minnesota. My name is Miles McLaughlin. In this video, I'm going to break down this property for you. I'm going to talk about things like target audience, potential ideas and uses for the property. And the biggest thing I'm going to talk about is access. I'm going to show you the property from satellite imagery. I'm going to do a deep dive into a few different access routes. So there's currently, hike-in and walk-in access. And there's also boat-in access too. So I want to cover both those things. I want to talk about the potential of improving access, and again, some of these potential uses and what I see in property like this. So what we do here at Wilco Land, we work with a lot of land investments like this, really unique and epic land investments. I want to start the video with a quick disclaimer. This isn't legal advice. This isn't real estate advice. This is simply me sharing my thoughts and opinion on the property through my own due diligence and my experience in the industry working with a lot of land investments like this. So getting us started here, just looking through the photos. This is a photo of West Shore Drive where the access route to the property is. I will talk about that here in a minute. Again, some more photos there. This is the current hike-in access route. It's a nice little game trail. It's been used in the past by the previous owners and things like that. Our photographer walked onto the property just fine. Again, more photos of the property. There's some good tree species out here indicating a lot of high ground. When I see a property like this, and I've sold quite a bit like it, it's going to be a very unique land investment. It's a lot of times used for recreation. People are using these type of properties for deer hunting, duck hunting, ice fishing, summer fishing, right? Walleye fishing, perch fishing, all that good stuff. People want their own little private campgrounds, a 20-acre campground for you and your friends and your family, right? Putting deer stands up, putting game cams up. I've seen people build little sleeper cabins, little log sleeper cabins that, are just off a wood burning stove maybe, or a generator for power, right? So they're staying the night someplace like this, right? This is a place to camp and recreate on the weekends, right? This is a hunting property. This is a fishing property. I'm not saying you can't develop a full-blown residence or, cabin in the traditional sense of things, right? Somebody that wants to build, but, the target audience here is looking for a really private, special, recreational land investment, right? You're hiking into the property. There is some potential to maybe improve the easement. It's a 33-foot easement that goes back there. It's going to take jumping through some hoops and some work. But if we did that, if it were that easy and we did it ourselves, we'd be marking this thing up double and we'd have put a gravel driveway in already, right? It's going to take somebody who knows the right people, who's got the right skill set and all that stuff. This is pretty darn close to an island that you can essentially walk onto because it's not quite an island. That's really, who the targeted audience is for something like this. There's tons of lake frontage on Duck Lake. This is where we're located up here in Minnesota. This is a Crosslake. This is Pelican Lake. You've got Breezy Point. Brainerd's just a little bit down here to the south. So this is Crow Wing County, Minnesota. And so let's talk about access. Let's look at the property on satellite imagery a little bit. Somewhere along West Shore Drive, I'm not exactly sure where. Our photographer did a pretty good job of trying to draw it out for us. There's a walking ATV trail that he took back to the property right about here. It looks like that might be, here's this little inlet, goes right about there. Looks like that's probably like right about here. Somewhere in this region, like you come around the turn, somewhere along here, there's some sort of walking trail and you can get back to the property. Okay, it's like a game trail. Let me show you a video of where our photographer was. So let me get started with just showing you this thing. And
so this is a panorama of the island?
This is a panorama of the property. So I'll start with that. So let's take a peek at this. This is going to be a panorama of the property. Like I said, our photographer made it to the property with no issue. Like I said, it's a really nice property. So people, what else can you find like this on the market? Filling some space with this conversation. What else are you going to find on the market like this? Where are you finding 20 acres with this much lake frontage? This is tons of lake frontage. There's no road going by the property. This is going to be a really nice place for hunting. I mean, this is secluded. This is quiet. This is special back here, right? People are, I've seen people put like storage containers up and they're storing their hunting and fishing gear, their weekend gear to get back here, kayaks and stuff. And here is the video of our photographer. So right around the bend, you can see that. You'll come into the property. Check this out. He'll tuck into the woods here in a second. So I'll show you that here in a second. Our photographer, right past that bend, you tuck into the woods. So take a peek at that. That's been the walking trail that goes back to the property. That's what our photographer took. That's kind of the trail you'll be able to kind of visualize out there. So that's where that one goes. Then when you're walking the trail, it will turn into some cattails and stuff like this, right? And you'll be able to just walk right through. You can see it's a pretty clearly defined trail. The person I bought this land from had claimed they even took an ATV back here. I find that pretty hard to believe, but what do I know? I haven't been to the property. So, what we offer is this raw product. This is what the land is. I look at a lot of land like this. Why are people buying this? It's the price point per acre. If you're just looking for recreational property, why would you spend 2 to 3 times this amount to go get something recreational that's also got road access and is buildable and all that stuff? Just buy a purely recreational property. Buy a recreational property that allows you to build little sleeper cabins, put a yurt up out here, store your kayaks and stuff, create your own cool little campsite, right? There's nothing wrong with hiking into a property when you're going to hunt and fish. That's actually kind of a cool feature. Hey guys, let's get into our property. Check this out. Here's how we go in. The alternative to access this property that I want to point out is there's public access to Duck Lake, and you could take a boat to the property. There's a ton of high ground. You can see that. You can tell on satellite imagery, there's tons of high ground. You can tell from the photos and the tree species that there's tons of high ground on this property. So when we talk about the other way to access this property, if you don't want to hike in right beyond this bend and get into the property, here's a public water access site right here. And these people have docks out here on Duck Lake, so there's public access to Duck Lake. And so what's wrong with accessing your property on a boat? There's nothing wrong with putting a dock in. How cool would that be? You put a dock in, you hop in a boat, and that's the access to your property. That's how you're bringing in building materials and all that good stuff. This is a really unique, a special land investment. You're not going to see a lot of this type of stuff on the market. We've got it priced with all these challenges. Challenges or fun features in mind, whatever you want to call it. Some people will look at accessing a property via a boat, a challenge, or, hey, I have no interest in that. That's fine. You're not the target audience. Other people are going to see this and see the price and say, you know what, this sounds like a fun project for this amount of money, or I'm going to make an offer on this property and develop it the way I want. I've got the skill set. I've got the time. This is a great project to work on. It's probably the cheapest 20 acre I can get my foot in the door with. Right. So it's got a ton of lake frontage too. So, just looking at, the frontage on the water from the high ground, and that's over 200 yards of frontage just right there. That doesn't include this entire bend that comes around. So, right, we've got a different property. It's not, like I said, it's not your run of the mill land investment. Okay. I would recommend using Onyx Maps to access a property. Again, you can access it on the ice during the winter. That's easy. When we talk about, like, I sell land in Alaska too, people are building during the winters and bringing materials out to their property during the winter because of the ice. The ice builds up and you can go out there and walk to your property on the ice. So that's kind of the last thing I didn't talk about is during the winter months in Minnesota, you can walk, you can take a snowmobile. Heck, you can probably drive your car across Duck Lake and access your property, right? Like, be ice aware. But our target audience is somebody who knows how to ice fish, probably, who's been living up in Minnesota, who wants to access the property from the water, from the ice, maybe hiking in. So, that's what we have to share in the property. There is a 33-foot wide easement. The language is in the deed. Just contact our sales team. If you want I've got some access information shared here. Just contact our sales team if you want some additional information on that easement. We can send it over to you. You can send it to your surveyor. You can read it yourself. For those looking to view the property, feel free to go on your own. Just plug the GPS coordinates into Onyx Maps. That's how you're going to find a property like this. You got to have a little bit of a skill set in that to understand these. All I'm doing is plugging in the GPS coordinates in Onyx. I can see the property right here. I know I can hike in right off West Shore Drive somewhere along here. Otherwise, you're going to be walking in across the ice, taking a snowmobile, taking your truck out, whatever it is, or taking a boat out to access the property, right? You could take a paddleboard, you could take a kayak and things of that nature too. So that sums up this 20 acres on the lake that we've got out here in Minnesota. Very unique land investment. For anybody interested, give us a call. We've got other land investments on the homepage. We do offer more of a self-service land investment model, but I'm happy to have a high-level conversation with anybody out there. You can call our team here at 605-299-5553. Thanks for tuning in.